I've got a question here from Rory. When you finish campaigning your fin, so a little way away, what do you plan to do and why?
Well, hopefully I can continue sailing in other areas of the sport. I mean, as I said earlier, we're very fortunate that there's so many different challenges in sailing, whether it be the small boats in the Olympics or the America's Cup or Volvo Ocean Race or offshore challenging. So there's lots of challenges. Obviously, the America's Cup is a huge deal for me. It's obviously very sad, the developments with Team Origin, but I certainly don't see that as being the end of my America's Cup career. And I'm also a big fan of the Jules Verne Trophy, which is the non-stop, no-holds-barred record around the world. I think that's pretty cool. And I'd like to have a crack at that one day.
Well, actually, I've just had a question come in that might be your answer. Charlie says, would you ever open a sailing academy?
It's an interesting idea. I mean, there's quite a few around the country, obviously, and you look at other sports where some of the guys in those sports have tried to, I guess, use that to encourage young people to get into the sport and try and teach them a few new tricks. So I think it's something that probably could work in sailing. We obviously have one of the national sailing academies down here in Weymouth and Portland, which is fantastic to see the number of youngsters coming through the place every day, getting out in the boats and really enjoying, even when it's freezing cold here in the winter, they love getting out there and getting wet. And so yeah, I think it's something which could work in the future, and I've thought about that a number of times.
Oh, great. So just seen a question here. I know you said you're going off to Australia soon, but Pierre would like to know where will you be training during the European winter. So I suppose any time from now until, well, European winter, April, May next year.
Yeah, that's right. No, so we're heading down to Perth and then Melbourne over November and December, and then competing in the Miami Olympic Classes Regatta in January, which will be good. I haven't raced in Miami for quite a while, so it'll be good to get back there. And probably Palma we will use as a winter training base from sort of February through till March, April time. And that will be quite an important time to get the equipment sorted out and get race ready for the European season.
And is it important, I know with Australia and with Palma, the weather is a little fairer than what we offer here in the UK. Is it important, obviously, when you're training every day? It's not easy when you go out in the conditions you had yesterday.
I think I'm probably just getting old and a little bit soft, because I remember when I was a teenager I was training here with Mark Littlejohn for the Olympic trials in 1995, and we sailed here pretty much every day all through the winter, well, at least until January time, and we just got on with it. So maybe I'm like everyone else, I'm just getting a bit soft, but I think at some point, especially if you're doing some development work, it's good to have more consistent conditions, and if you're not freezing cold, it certainly helps
it helps to
get the quality time in on the water.
And I've just seen a question here which I think may have been written by a girl. Do you think girls can be as good as boys in sailing?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've seen that a number of times, that girls have either raced in open classes or against guys and done very, very well. Not even in dinghies. I think in the America's Cup there was an all-female crew in the 92 or 95, I forget which one, the America's Cup, and in the Volvo, or it was the Whitbread round the world race back then. So no, women, I think sailing is a good lever as well for women to get into the sport, and certainly there's been quite a number of occasions where I've been pushed hard by the women. We actually had Lucy McGregor, who just won the world match racing, the women's Olympic match racing world championships earlier in the year, and she came to the Bermuda Gold Cup a couple of weeks ago and did really well, and certainly beat a few of the more favoured names, and really did well and put up a good showing for the women.
Well, hopefully that answer will be good enough. Absolutely, girls can be as good. Question here from Sam Rowell. I've just started team racing at university after 6 years of fleet racing. Have you ever team raced, and what do you think of it?
I used to do team racing in Optimus. They used to have it at the Optimus World Championships. They used to do some team racing, and it was always really good fun. We really enjoyed it. But to be honest, I haven't done a huge amount of it since. But I was at the Wilson Trophy last year. I had a good friend up there who's has a lot to do with the West Kirby Sailing Club up there. So I went up and and spent a bit of time watching it. It was pretty cool. I mean, so much changes so quickly in team racing, and you really got to know your rules. So it's a good side of the sport.
Now, I know, Ben, that you're quite well known for your fast downwind sailing, and Sebastian has asked, do you still get the adrenaline rush when you're surfing down the waves? Is that still there for you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the nicer parts of the sport, when you get the right conditions and you can be surfing down the waves and going fast, making good ground on the rest of the fleet. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Just seen a question as well from Rory. I know we've talked a lot about your training on and off the water, but specifically he'd like to know, how much time do you spend on the water per week? I guess people want to know, what does it take to be at your level?
Well, it varies a huge amount, but really now, for me, getting back into the boat is going to be pretty intense. So I'd probably sail 6 days a week, and anywhere between, sort of, depending on the conditions, if it was a good day, maybe 4 hours, or if it was a bad day, maybe 2 hours. So yeah, it ends up getting up there, to 25 hours or something like that.
And that's just on the water, isn't it? That's forgetting the few hours you have to spend in the gym.
Well, yeah, then you get in the gym and all the rest of it, and it gets hard. But as I said earlier, I'm very fortunate with my coach, David, because he takes on a lot of the work in terms of the boat maintenance and preparation and stuff. So if I go down to the gym, he might spend a bit of time working on the boat. So it's a real team effort.
I've just seen a more technical question come in from Tom Smith. I sometimes have trouble understanding the overlap rule. Can you put it simply for me?
Well, basically, if you think you're inside someone, just stick your boat in there and you'll be fine.
Oh, okay. Just go for it. Is the simple rule. Oh, here's a question. I know we're talking about you being on the water for 25 hours a week. Do you get a chance to do any other sports? What other sports do you do?
I really love playing golf. Actually, I haven't played for quite a while, but yeah, I love golf. I'm not very good at it, but I think there's quite a lot of similarities with sailing. Psychologically, dealing with the challenges and bad shots and all the rest of it, and so it's fun, and it's just nice being outdoors. So I enjoy golf.
And I suppose we've just seen some questions there. Obviously, what other sports do you do? What other hobbies do you have? I mean, I think I read that you love reading about American history. What do you do when you're not sailing?
Yeah, I read quite a lot. Just is obviously something with travelling a lot. You end up with periods of time when you just need to kill some time. I read quite a lot of biographies, and I find that quite interesting. And yeah, I went through a period, I guess, where I was interested in American history.
Oh, just a period. It's not a big hobby.
No, not really. It's not. I'm not going to be going for a degree in it. Don't worry.
Okay, just plain reading when you're travelling. Here's a quick question from Adam Underwood. In a laser when choppy, do you want a flat or a slightly heeled boat in the laser?
Well, it's obviously very condition dependent. And normally when it's choppy in any boat, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of leeward heel, because especially in a boat like a laser, that gives you the ability to use some kinetics to, if you hit a particularly bad wave, you can bring the boat flat and try and help the boat re-accelerate. So it's normally, you normally find you go slightly better with a little bit of heel, not too much, just maybe 10 degrees or something like that, to also give the boat a little bit of helm as well to help you steer through the waves.
I'm seeing questions here. There's one here from Nikki. Everyone keeps going back to your training and your diet. What is your diet, and do you ever have a sneaky McDonald's?
Oh, I don't know. I might be tempted every now and then to get down to Burger King or McDonald's. But no, generally, we're trying to put the weight on. It's obviously hard work, but you can't just go and eat a load of junk food. So a lot of protein shakes and steaks and pasta, and really just try and do it that way.
Do you just feel full all the time?
Generally, it's not as much fun as you think it would be.
Yeah, I can imagine. And there's a question here. I know nothing about this. Will you name your boat Rita again? Do you know anything about that?
Most of my boats are called Rita, so yeah, I think I'll probably have to continue calling them Rita.
Is that one of your lucky themes? Do you have to call them Rita?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always call my boats Rita, and it's worked, so I keep doing it.
I've got a question here from Archie. In your opinion, do you think you are faster than your opposition, or are you more tactically aware? That's a good question. This may be different up and down wind, they've said.
Oh, well, certainly right now I'm definitely not faster than the opposition. I'm quite a lot slower, but I'm working on it. but yeah, it's really important. I mean, they always say that good boat speed makes you a tactical genius, and there's an element of truth in that. But at the end of the day, you still have to get off the start line well and get the first shift generally. That's the key to most races, and certainly in Olympic sailing, a big part of it is being fast downwind, because that's really how you can get yourself out of trouble. Normally, with the quality of fleets that you sail in, it's hard to make big gains upwind. But downwind, if you get it right, if you find a good groove, you can make some pretty astonishing gains sometimes.
Michael Ryan Wilkinson would like to know what started you into sailing and where did you do it?
Well, I started with my parents, really, in North Wales, just on a small cruising boat. It was just a thing we did as a family at the weekends, and sort of cruising across the North Sea and glamorous places like that. And with my sister, who's 3 years older than I am, so we got into it that way. And yeah, as I said, it wasn't until I was about 8 or 9 that my family moved to Cornwall, and I started sailing down at the Shongut Sailing Club.
And I have one last question for you, Ben, and this is for what's been your favourite question today, because she's got a helicopter going above. What's been your favourite question today? Because for those of you at home, Ben's going to choose his favourite question, and they will receive a signed copy of your book, Close to the Wind. So can you pick one? There's been a lot of good ones.
I guess, I can't remember who sent the question in about the watch. The
Demetra.
timing. Demetra. So yeah, I thought that was
the best question.
That was a good question.
So
timing is everything. So
Demetra,
yeah,
Ben says timing's everything. So the question on the watch. So thanks, Ben, so much for coming in. I know you haven't been so well, and thanks to everyone for your questions at home.